Yo, I just got some information myself, man, because it was strange to me that every month he's going up for a bail hearing. And I know that that seems strange to a lot of people.
Can manipulate what's going on with the people who are bickering and fighting. I just gave you a music.
The news surrounding Shah Diddy Combs, one of the music industry's most iconic figures, is explosive. Rumors are swirling that he met a mysterious end while in custody at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn. Although there's been no official confirmation, whispers of his death have spread quickly across social media and speculative forums. Adding to the intrigue is a recent large-scale FBI raid at the same facility. Officially,
he doesn't kind of buy what the prosecution's selling. He thinks they've looked at the notes.
Yeah.
He thinks that they're cheating.
I mean, I would think that too.
But apparently, what happened is common.
Let's dive into the details. According to anonymous sources and whispers from those with insider knowledge, the recent raid on the detention center was anything but routine. Typically, such operations involve a small team dealing with contraband or safety issues, but this raid was far more intense. Black SUVs, tactical units, and even 9 squads descended on the facility in a display of force that seemed excessive for a routine sweep. Eyewitnesses reported seeing agents carrying sealed evidence bags, and some even heard helicopters hovering overhead. What's more suspicious is the timing. This raid occurred just days after Diddy was reportedly placed in the facility's high-safety unit, raising serious questions about what was really happening behind the scenes.
A lot of money, and they got lawyers that can come up with different reasons and different information and present it to the courts that they are able to get how many bail hearings, as long as you got different information to present to the court, different evidence.
Adding to the intrigue, there has been no official word from authorities regarding Diddy's current status. His legal team, usually quick to respond, has remained unusually silent. Family members, who had been outspoken about his case recently, have suddenly stopped responding to media inquiries. Could it be that they were summoned to the prison for reasons too sensitive to disclose? Rumors suggest that Diddy's family was urgently called to the facility before the raid for a private meeting with prison officials. But if this was simply a routine concern for his well-being, why all the secrecy? The Metropolitan Detention Center itself is no stranger to controversy. Often described as a hellish institution plagued by corruption and neglect, it has been the subject of investigations for years. It's the same place where infamous figures like R. Kelly and Ghislaine Maxwell were held. The facility's reputation for poor conditions, overcrowding, lack of basic amenities, and unchecked abuse paints a grim picture of life inside. For someone like Diddy, accustomed to luxury and privilege, this stark reality would have been an unimaginable fall from grace. What's most chilling is the eerie parallel to Jeffrey Epstein's time in custody. The similarities are impossible to ignore. A high-profile detainee, a sudden and unexplained event, and an institution already under intense scrutiny. The questions surrounding Diddy's case continue to grow.
So you got to realize he got a lot of money. He still got a lot of money because he's paying these high-profile lawyers to take this case. So in having them to take this case, they're able to construct a lot of information together to making sure that when they go to the courts, they can say, yo, Your Honor, listen here. This is something that's changed. This is something that's new. This is something that's different.
Conspiracy theories have, unsurprisingly, taken center stage following these developments. One of the most widely circulated claims is that Diddy may not have passed away due to natural causes or neglect, but was silenced to protect powerful individuals. His legal troubles had uncovered a web of allegations involving not just him, but a network of influential figures, from business moguls to entertainment industry giants. Diddy's alleged wrongdoings had implicated numerous high-profile people. Could it be that someone decided he knew too much? This theory gains traction when considering the scale of the raid and the eerie lack of transparency from authorities.
It looked like he might get bail. Now you're wondering why I'm saying that. See, they are trying to use some of the things that happen to criminals all the time, or inmates all the time. They always, brother, they always do those.
Some speculate that Diddy's own associates may have played a role in orchestrating his downfall. In the high-stakes world of wealth and influence, loyalty is often conditional. The theory suggests that certain individuals close to him fearing their own exposure, may have conspired to eliminate the risk he posed. It's a chilling thought, but not entirely implausible, given the stakes involved. After all, Diddy's case wasn't just about his personal actions, it threatened to expose systemic issues within both the entertainment industry and the justice system.
Particular case, they said that when they did the impromptu search, well, they took some of his legal information, and the judge ordered them to give that back. So I guess the lawyers are going to come up with a couple of new things saying that he can't properly, have his.
The idea of a larger cover-up is strengthened by the unusual behavior of federal agencies in this case. For instance, why was the FBI so heavily involved in the raid? Typically, such operations are handled by local law enforcement or the Bureau of Prisons. The involvement of a federal agency, known for its high-level investigations, suggests that there's more to this story than meets the eye. Some insiders claim that the raid wasn't about contraband or security concerns at all, but was instead focused on retrieving sensitive materials that could implicate other powerful figures. This aligns with earlier reports that federal agents had been searching for hidden documents and recordings during their raids on subpoenas and documents and recordings during their raids.
I believe none of that to be true. I believe that they went in there just like they do all the other inmates based on the information they had. You got to realize this, bro. They found out that Diddy was using other inmates' phone cards. Now that probably happens all the time.
Let's not forget the peculiar circumstances surrounding earlier raids on Diddy's Miami and Los Angeles homes. Agents reportedly seized a treasure trove of evidence, including electronic devices and hard drives. At the time, it was speculated that these items contained incriminating information not just about Diddy, but also his associates. Could similar material have been discovered at the detention center? If so, the implications are staggering. It would suggest that Diddy's troubles were just the tip of the iceberg, and that a much larger scandal is waiting to be uncovered.
A whole forestry of next week, because what they did was they held off whatever the procedures was going to go down today. The judge said he's going to revisit this next week. So I guess, I don't know if it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We'll find out what's going on, but it's going to be something that I think it may shock the world.
Critics have highlighted the systemic failures that allowed this situation to escalate. The intersection of wealth, power, and corruption has long fueled conspiracy theories, and Diddy's case seems to exemplify this dynamic. From alleged witness tampering to the use of private security for illegal activities, the case has exposed glaring vulnerabilities in the justice system. Now, with his rumored demise, it appears these failures have reached a grim conclusion, raising serious concerns about accountability and transparency.
This is what people don't understand about the federal government. This is what the people don't understand about the Southern District of New York. When they come and get you, when they decide to lock you up, they already won.
Of course, not everyone is convinced by these theories. Skeptics argue that the lack of concrete evidence makes it difficult to draw definitive conclusions. And could the raid have been a coincidence, unrelated to Diddy's case? Or is his alleged passing merely a rumor amplified by the internet's insatiable appetite for scandal? These are valid points, but they do little to quell the growing unease surrounding the story. After all, the absence of answers often raises more questions than it solves.
Diddy is a multi-millionaire. He's a multi-millionaire. If he wins this case against them, look at all the business that he lost. Look what they made him look like in the public eye. He could bankrupt. he could bankrupt the
What's particularly striking is the public's reaction to these developments. Social media platforms have been flooded with posts speculating about the circumstances of Diddy's alleged passing. Hashtags like Diddy Conspiracy and Justice for Diddy have trended, with users sharing their own theories and demanding transparency from authorities. The case has also sparked broader discussions about accountability and privilege. How could someone as influential as Diddy find himself in such a situation? And what does this say about the systems that are supposed to ensure justice? The parallels to the Epstein case have only intensified these discussions. Like Epstein, Diddy was a man of immense wealth and connections, accused of heinous acts that implicated others in positions of power. And like Epstein, his time in custody has been shrouded in mystery and controversy. The mere mention of Epstein's name evokes a sense of unfinished business, a lingering suspicion that justice was never truly served. If Diddy's case ends in a similar fashion, it's likely to fuel even more distrust in the justice system, further deepening public cynicism.
Is that if there's one little boy underage, if there's one person that's been victimized by the hands of him or anybody else, justice is supposed to do what justice is supposed to do.
As we wait for more information to emerge, one thing is clear: this story is far from over. Whether through official statements, insider leaks, or further investigative reporting, the truth will eventually come to light. But until then, the questions remain. What really happened to Shaw Diddy Combs? Was his alleged demise the result of systemic failures, foul play, or something even more sinister? And perhaps most importantly, who stands to benefit from keeping the truth hidden? This is where the narrative takes a darker turn. Beyond the immediate questions of what happened and why, lies a deeper, more unsettling reality. Diddy's case has exposed cracks in the very foundations of the systems we rely on, from the justice system to the media. It has shown how wealth and influence can both protect and destroy, often in the same breath. And it has forced us to confront uncomfortable truths about accountability, power, and the lengths to which some will go to maintain control.
Prosecutors were arguing is not only does your client pose a flight risk, because obviously he's incredibly wealthy, has access to planes and a lot of staff, even though you said he turned over his passport to you months ago. They were also worried about him being able to interfere with witnesses and calling.
But this is just the beginning. As the story unfolds, it's likely to reveal even more about the hidden forces at play. From the mysterious circumstances of the FBI raid to the broader implications of Diddy's legal troubles, there's much more to uncover. As we move into the next chapter of this case, the questions only grow more urgent. Who will be implicated next? And how will this story ultimately end?
I think the most important thing, even more important than the passport, is that Mr. Combs came to New York on September 5th. As soon as we realized that this indictment was going to be coming down in a matter of weeks, maybe months, but sometime soon, Mr. Combs got on a plane, left his home in Florida, flew to New York. I called the prosecutors myself. I said, Mr. Combs is in New York. Do you want to know where he...
The more you dig into Diddy's story, the stranger it becomes. This isn't just about one man's alleged crimes, or even his rumored demise. It's about a legacy of power, secrecy, and influence that stretches far beyond the world of music. For years, Diddy's name has been synonymous with success, luxury, and larger-than-life parties. But just beneath the surface has always been a murmur of something darker. Some say he was untouchable, protected by forces greater than we can imagine. Others believe his fall from grace was inevitable, the result of years of unchecked ambition and hubris. Then there are those who think his current troubles are just the tip of the iceberg, a small glimpse into a much larger, much more powerful network pulling the strings behind the scenes. Diddy's arrest and the subsequent chaos have reignited long-standing theories about his connections to secret societies and powerful elites. Let's not forget that for years, rumors have swirled about his involvement with the so-called Illuminati. The whispers began as early as the 2000s, when fans started noticing recurring symbols in his music videos and public appearances. The triangle hand gesture he often made, the pyramid motifs in his stage designs, some saw these as subtle nods to a secret society said to control everything from entertainment to global politics. Diddy didn't shy away from the mystery. In fact, he once joked in an interview that his parties were so exclusive, they'd probably arrest him just for throwing them. But here's where it gets really interesting. After his arrest in September, several high-profile figures spoke out, some distancing themselves from him, others remaining oddly silent. Ice Cube, for example, made it clear that he had never been to a Diddy party and didn't want to be associated with whatever was going on. Meanwhile, conspiracy theorists began pointing out that Diddy's troubles seemed eerily similar to the downfall of other powerful figures rumored to be part of this secret society. Could it be that Diddy became a liability? Someone who knew too much and had to be taken down? Or is it just a coincidence that so many of his former allies have suddenly gone quiet? The questions continue to mount, deepening the mystery surrounding Diddy's life and legacy.
So my defense is very well established. I interviewed myself the different men who were being brought sort of into Mr. Combs and this person's intimate situation. I've flown around the country. I've interviewed a large number of them. There's not the slightest inkling, according to the interviews that I've done, of anything that's coercive, non-consensual.
Even Joe Rogan and Andrew Schultz recently weighed in on the discussion. During an episode of Rogan's podcast, Schultz speculated that the raids on Diddy's properties and the detention center weren't just about the charges against him, but could have been an effort to recover incriminating evidence involving other powerful individuals. They weren't just looking for stuff on Diddy, Schultz said. They were looking to protect themselves. Rogan agreed, musing that Diddy's infamous parties attracted celebrities, politicians, and business moguls, people who would have a lot to lose if certain tapes or documents ever saw the light of day.
Say that again. Say that again. Back up. You're saying that there's tapes and they're being shopped?
Yes, there have been people already shopping.
We've heard about the tapes, but
yes.
The shopping thing is
yes, there already have been tapes leaking around Hollywood, being shopped around to individuals in Hollywood. But one particular person contacted me to shop a particular video they were in possession of.
And it's not just speculation. Court documents and insider leaks have hinted at the existence of recordings from Diddy's homes and events that could implicate multiple high-profile individuals. One former associate, Rodney Lil Rod Jones, claimed in a lawsuit that Diddy had hundreds of cameras hidden throughout his properties, capturing footage of everything that went on. Jones alleged that these recordings were used as leverage, either to keep people in line or to ensure their silence. If these tapes exist, it's no wonder federal agents were so thorough in their searches. The question is, what did they find, and why hasn't any of it been made public? Some believe the answer lies in Diddy's alleged connections to federal agencies. This theory gained traction after Ye, in his typically unfiltered style, accused Diddy of being a government informant during an interview on the Drink Champs podcast. Ye claimed that Diddy had made deals with authorities to avoid consequences for his actions. "You're a Fed," Ye said bluntly, suggesting that Diddy's cooperation with law enforcement had allowed him to stay out of trouble for years. At the time, many dismissed West's comments as just another one of his outlandish rants. But now, with everything that's come to light, those accusations don't seem so far-fetched.
That fact in of itself is a big deal, because when you're talking about going back in time and talking about these allegations from other alleged victims, you know, there's not a lot of police reports, but you guys actually have one. And is that going to be revealed? Are we going to be able to see it?
Yes, as soon as I file my lawsuit in civil court, I will be attaching the...
Candace Owens, the controversial political commentator, recently brought this theory back into the spotlight after CNN released surveillance footage of Diddy allegedly assaulting his ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura in a hotel hallway. Owens tweeted, "He's not in jail because he's a fuffing asset." The video, which shows a man identified as Diddy kicking and dragging Cassie, has sparked outrage and renewed calls for accountability. But it also raises questions about why it took so long for this evidence to surface. If Diddy really was working with federal agencies, could they have been protecting him all this time? Adding to the mystery is the role of Diddy's infamous parties. His so-called freak-offs have become the stuff of legend, described by attendees as lavish, hedonistic affairs that often spiraled into chaos. These events weren't just about having a good time. They were carefully curated spectacles designed to dazzle and disarm guests. Reportedly, everyone from Hollywood A-listers to Wall Street executives attended, lured in by the promise of exclusivity and excess. But what went on behind closed doors has become the subject of intense scrutiny. Some former attendees have come forward with allegations of misconduct, while others have tried to distance themselves entirely from the chaos and controversy surrounding Diddy's legendary parties.
Pretty early in the proceedings. I think it's only been about a month or a month and a half since he's been arraigned and held in detention. And so the investigations are always going to be a continuous and ongoing process. I'm sure at this point there's been an exchange of discovery. And not only that, but I think there's been a gag order placed on the attorneys with information that they can and cannot share. But more importantly,
Attorney Tony Busby, who represents over 120 of Diddy's alleged victims, has even sent demand letters to celebrities who attended these infamous parties, urging them to settle out of court or face lawsuits. "If you were there and knew what was happening, you're just as guilty," Busby said in a recent interview. His comments have sent shockwaves through Hollywood, with some stars reportedly scrubbing their social media accounts to erase any trace of their connection to Diddy. The idea That simply being present at one of these events could implicate someone has only fueled the paranoia surrounding the case. Then there's the Illuminati connection. For years, conspiracy theorists have claimed that Diddy's parties were more than just wild gatherings. They were initiation rituals for a secret society that thrives on control and manipulation. These theories often point to recurring symbols at his events, such as pyramid motifs and the all-seeing eye. While it's easy to dismiss these claims as products of overactive imaginations, they do raise an interesting question. How did Diddy manage to maintain his empire for so long, despite the allegations against him? Was it just his charisma and business acumen, or was there something or someone protecting him all along?
Everybody familiar with the old Houdini? So what Diddy's lawyers are trying to do is pull a Houdini. They're trying to say that the evidence that they have is different. Well, it's not different. The video that the entire world has seen is not going to go away. The fact that he had parties that were freak-offs is not going away. So it's just a question of whether or not Diddy...
Even if you don't buy into the Illuminati angle, it's hard to ignore the systemic issues Diddy's case has highlighted. His alleged actions didn't happen in a vacuum. They were enabled by a culture that prioritizes profit and power over accountability. From the entertainment industry to the justice system, there's a long history of turning a blind eye to wrongdoing when it benefits those at the top. Diddy's story is a glaring example of how wealth and influence can shield someone from consequences until they can't. As the investigation continues, the stakes couldn't be higher. If the rumors about tapes and documents are true, they could expose a web of corruption that extends far beyond Diddy. And if the theories about his connections to federal agencies are accurate, it could spark a national conversation about accountability and transparency. But for now, all we can do is wait and watch as this tangled web continues to unravel.
Meantime, let's go back to New York City. Want to get some updates on the case that is unfolding there regarding Sean Diddy.
This story isn't just about Diddy. It's about the systems that enabled his rise to power and the people who supported him along the way. It's about the intersection of wealth, privilege, and secrecy, and what happens when that delicate balance is disrupted. It also speaks to the growing demand for transparency in a world where the truth is often hidden beneath layers of influence and control. Where does this leave us? Are we on the verge of uncovering one of the biggest scandals in recent history? Or is this just another chapter in the messy saga of celebrity culture? Either way, the questions surrounding Diddy's case aren't going away anytime soon. From allegations of misconduct to theories about secret societies and potential federal cover-ups, the intrigue continues to mount. As more details emerge, one thing is certain. The story of Sean Combs is far from over. So, what do you think really happened to Diddy? Could this all be an elaborate cover-up? Or is there more to the story that we're not seeing? Share your thoughts and theories in the comments below, and let's keep the conversation going. Together, we might uncover the truth. See you in the next video.